I'll now run through some of the preferences within Bridge that sets it up in a way that we wish to work. So our preferences are all hidden in the Edit menu. First of all though, I'll just go down to the color settings. If you recall from when we set up Photoshop, the color settings in Photoshop, we set it to Pro Photo RGB. And now within Bridge we can see that it's saying it's not synchronized. If you can remember, there was a similar sort of icon within Photoshop. So Bridge is operating within the European General Purpose 3 color space. We need to change that to Pro Photo, and there's the one that I created within Photoshop. So if I select that and now apply, if we go back into Edit Color Settings, you can now see that it's synchronized. So if you did have a load of Adobe programs, that particular color setting would be applied across your suite of programs. We'll now go to Edit Preferences. So these are the preferences for the way Bridge operates. General, we've got the appearance. So at the moment I've got the white appearance. If we change these icons here, you can see the interface changes, the brightness of the interface. I prefer to have a lighter interface. It's better for the video tutorials, but also if you're creating a print, you don't want it surrounded by a load of dark areas, because certainly within Photoshop, because your eye can again be fooled by the darkness of the surrounds, and normally a print will be displayed in a bright environment. So you need a relatively light environment to work in. So I still prefer to work in an environment like that. Thumbnails. So you've got a few performance features here. I've selected do not process files larger than 8,000 megabytes, which tends to show you thumbnails for virtually anything we've got in here. You've got other things like stacks and audio, so play audio files automatically when previewed, so you can do that within Bridge as well, and automatically preview videos. Metadata, this is the equivalent of what we viewed in the metadata panel here. Keywords, labels, so this is a red label, yellow label, and what Adobe think it means. Of course you can apply whatever meaning you like to the labels you select. File associations. Right, we get into cache now. Now whenever you open new images into Bridge, you'll probably see it takes a while for them to render. There'll be a little black border around these until they fully render, and when it is rendered, it stores that image that it's created, that preview image, in a thing called cache. Now there is a default location for cache, but I prefer to keep all my cache in a place that I can find it. And if you get loads and loads of images, this cache size can really mount up. And sometimes Bridge can become unstable, and it's useful to be able to just purge the cache manually sometimes. I've created, I'll just go to Windows File Explorer here. I've actually got a separate hard drive where I have created 2 folders for cache. So we're looking at Bridge cache at the moment. That's where all the previews of the images are created. So I've created one called Bridge Cache, and within Bridge, just go back to Bridge, that is the location, F drive Bridge Cache. So normally that would be a default location, but if you wish to manage the cache in your own way, you can create your own folders and tell it where to store the cache in. And you can change the amount of images that are allowed to go to cache. This is can be a very technical subject, but it's worth getting to understand, especially if you start getting problems with cache. You've got to start up scripts, and you've got this thing called advanced. Now the only thing that I would point out here is generate monitor size previews. It's possible to view your images in what's called a slideshow mode, and you need to have those images displayed at a resolution that makes best use of the monitor that you've got. Now I'm using 4K monitors, so whenever I want to view an image in the slideshow mode, so it fills the entire screen, I want the resolution of that image to match the resolution of my monitor. And by ensuring generate monitor size previews is selected, it will ensure that the image displayed is the same resolution as my monitor. However, that will increase the size of the cache because the generated images will have to be bigger than if they were otherwise done. Okay, so that's the preferences menu there. We've also got another camera raw preferences. Now this can be accessed through camera raw as well, but let's just run through that here. Whenever we alter a raw file, a camera manufacturer's raw file, it saves the adjustments as a thing called a sidecar XMP file. So this is all done automatically. You don't need to worry about this, but it will save those adjustments as an attached file, and it can either be saved to a central database or to the actual files. So in general, the advice is to save it to a sidecar XMP file rather than a central database, so that if your images get moved to a different computer, at least the XMP files automatically accompany it. Otherwise, the adjustments that you made will not be attached to the image. Also, in Camera Raw, you can apply sharpening to the image. Now, unless you have this selected to all images, if you have it preview images only, the sharpening will be visible within Adobe Camera Raw, but as soon as it's sent to Photoshop, that sharpening will be lost. So I like to have that applied to all images, so whatever sharpening you apply in Camera Raw is applied to the image on sending to Photoshop. Default image settings. Now I don't want to apply any auto tone adjustments to my color images. Okay, but I do like to have auto grayscale applied to my black and white images. That can be quite a useful thing to have done, so I have that applied there. Camera Raw also has its own cache. So any adjustments we make in Camera Raw go to a separate cache. And if I just go back to File Explorer, you can see I've created another folder, and these are all the adjustments made in Camera Raw. Okay, but again, if you're not into doing all this yourself, that will be created automatically and managed in the background without any input from yourself. But again, if Bridge becomes unstable, it's worth understanding that you can purge the cache and bring back Bridge to life. But of course, all of your generated adjustments will not disappear, but Bridge will have to regenerate them again when you bring the images back in, because those adjustments are attached to that XMP file. So it might not be in the Bridge database, but at least any adjustments you make will still be attached to the actual images themselves. If you're working with DNG files, these settings would be applicable to you. Now down here we've got the JPEG and TIFF handling. So Camera Raw can now, as well as handling RAW files, it can handle JPEG and TIFF. And so if you select automatically open all supported JPEGs, now if you open a TIFF or a JPEG in Camera Raw, it will, in Bridge, sorry, it will be sent to Camera Raw as part of the process of migrating to Photoshop. Down here we've got performance. So if you've got a decent graphics card built into your computer, you need to ensure that that is ticked. so that performance can be enhanced by utilizing the processing power of your graphics processor. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the preferences built into Bridge.